Hello there, I'm Natalie. So this video is part of a playlist where I show you how I create and upload a kids journal onto the Amazon KDP platform. I discuss every stage of the journey and hope to make it easier for you. So let's jump into this video. Okay, kids journal with drawing space is the keyword. Then you need those further details, the subtitle, the back-end keywords and the description for your book. This is going to tell Amazon who to show your book to, and it's going to tell your customer if this book is right for them. So how to write your title, your subtitle and choose your 7 back-end keywords. That's what we're going to talk about today in this video. So in the last video, we'd already chosen our keyword for this particular title. If you haven't seen that video, these videos are in a sequence, so go back and watch it. But inside Amazon, you're going to have a 200 character limit for the title and the subtitle. I used to use every character possible, and I don't do that anymore because I think it is keyword stuffing. I don't think it reads well. I don't think Amazon likes it particularly. And I think that really what the goal here is to make sure that it reads well, it's a proper sentence, it talks to a specific person, and you haven't got every single word like journal, notebook, diary, all in the title. I think it looks messy and it's obvious what you're trying to do. You don't need to do that. You want to be specific. You want to make a journal or a diary or a notebook. Be proud of what you're making and stick with that in your subtitle and your title. You don't need to max out on the keyword, on the characters, and also on mobile, half of them don't show, so they're just going to get ... and they're going to not even know what you wrote. A lot of people shop on mobile and on tablet. So Amazon themselves, they tell us the title best practices. Enter your title exactly as it reads on the cover of your book. Ensure your title is exactly the same on a paperback, hardback and ebook. Don't add anything from this following list. These items are forbidden. Don't put them on there. So you can pause this video and have a little look if you want to. Make sure your title is your keyword. It's the same as your book cover. And don't break your keyword at this point. You've done the validation. You've found your keyword. Don't add any extra words in between any of those keywords at this stage. You will be breaking the keyword if you do. You can add words before and you can add words at the end. If it makes sense to add an A or a with, something like that, word that's not a keyword as such, you can do that. But you don't want to break your keyword at this point. So kids journal with drawing space, that is our keyword, that is our title. Your subtitle, your chosen sub-niche. What kids? What kids are these? Who are these kids? So what's their age? Is it a theme? Is it based around a hobby or an activity? Has it got an objective? Do you want to talk about how many pages are in the book? The size of the book? Is it large? Is it small? What keywords do you think a customer reads them is going to pull them in to buy your book? That can go in your subtitle. So get inspiration from real life. If you're just making a book because you want to make it, then you know what those keywords should be. You can have a think about it. Get inspiration from Amazon. You can validate your idea there. Have a look what other people are doing. You don't need to copy anyone. You can make yours unique. You can use Google. Search for your idea in Google. See what comes up. And you can use my free downloads. I've made some free downloads on my website, thinkbigprofits.com, which will give you ideas on things like hobbies. There's a huge list. I think it's 400 plus hobbies that kids and adults have. So that's just one of the lists that's on my website that you could download. And that will give you lots of ideas as well if you just feel stuck as to who you want to make a book for. Don't forget to validate. Unless you want to be the first to market and you are making a book that's never been made before, don't forget to validate. And also another reason to do this is, as in a previous video, when we typed in that notebook with a vintage crow on it, we saw there were 8 books like that weren't selling, that had sold a couple of copies. Do you want to make the 9th book that's also not going to sell? That's your choice. You need to have a look at what's out there and are they selling? That's what the BSR is there to tell you. So you can be the first to market with a completely new idea and kind of hope that you've got a great idea, or you can validate it. So kids journal with drawing space. I'm going to go back to Amazon. I'm going to have a look through the books there and I'm going to decide who this book is for. So I know what subtitle to use, I can write a description, and of course then I can begin to make my interior and cover. So now we have to think about the next stage. Let's just go back into Amazon and we're going to write in that keyword, and here it is, kids journal with drawing space.
And we're going to think about the next stage here. So we're going to be thinking about who is the demographic, who is this book created for, what age are they, what are they doing, what is this book's purpose, so that we can add in more metadata, obviously niche down slightly more. And if you remember in the last video, I discussed that the actual keyword remains the same, the keyword of kids journal with drawing space, but of course now we're going to niche down further and add metadata for Amazon to be able to show our book to the right people, for people to be able to find our book as well. So when you're looking through Amazon, I'll just zoom in on this particular example, and you see this colon. This means that the words before that are the title and presumably the keyword, if they are thinking cleverly, that you want the keyword at the front of your title. This is, the most important part. After the colon are further keywords, further information for Amazon, and also of course for the customer to make sure that they like what they see and they know what they're going to get. And you can actually add an awful lot of words into Amazon, these title and subtitle lines, and it's been recommended to me, and I used to fill this. I used to think, well, they've given us that space, so let's fill it up, let's add as many things in here as I can think of, and I've stopped doing that now. It's been advised to me that actually it's not sensible for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's kind of seen as keyword stuffing. Amazon doesn't like that. And if you think about it, sometimes, I don't know if any of these are a particular example, but some of these titles are just a bunch of words together. They don't read as a sentence. And as a customer, that can be a bit off-putting if you don't know what they're trying to get at, or, is it a journal? Is it a notebook? Is it a diary? What is it? If you're using all of the different words, then I think it can make people just scroll past. It should really read sensibly, and it should be kind of short and concise and to the point. Now let's just have a think about what our kids journal with drawing space might be about. So looking on the first page, we know that this keyword is draw and write journal, and their selling points are its wide ruled lines for kids, 3rd through 6th grade. So obviously this is aimed at the American market. We're on the .com anyway. And they've used the colour green. I guess maybe some people might want a green book. So that's what they're going for. And this one here is not independently published. This one is a long time ago, June 2018. They're talking about the age, K2. They're talking about the size of the notebook. So they have chosen to describe the size because that's the biggest size that Amazon make. And of course, if you're talking to kindergarten and year 1 and 2 children, a big book might be the way to go, and I feel like that is actually something that I want for my book as well. So they have put that. They've put the size as well. They've put it's black marble. I wouldn't necessarily think that's something that parents are looking for, but it's selling very well. So, who am I to make any judgment on that? And they are calling it a notebook and a journal and practice paper. So there's lots going on in that title. Draw and write journal, so kids drawing primary composition notebook, I presume is the main keyword, with half picture space and half dotted midlines. Handwriting paper practice. Maybe that is a keyword, I don't know, but that does not read particularly well to me. Looking further down, draw and write journal for kids age 4 to 8 years old. Easter bunny, primary composition notebook, journal, girl, bunny for kids. So a little bit of keyword stuffing in that one. This one's not independently published. This one is a long time ago, 2019. Now that's clearly for an older child, and that's actually a sketchbook anyway, so that's not something that we're looking at. Draw and write journal for kids, kindergarten, half-page lined paper with drawing space. Now, as you can see here, they've only used one capital letter, and most people do use a capital at the beginning of each word, which obviously is not something we do in normal scenarios, but it does look much better on Amazon. So I would recommend that you do add a capital letter at the beginning of each word. So this one, the unicorn theme, which has been done to death on Amazon and is a hugely popular niche, lots of unicorn related items out there. So elementary school exercise book, story, picture, space and dashed midline. So they've put the age, and of course they've used the word unicorn because that's describer for the book. So draw and write. So I'm kind of looking at what people are doing on the first few pages. I'm looking at what people are doing in this niche, and to be honest, it's quite varied, isn't it? It is quite varied. And has everybody chosen a particular theme? Yes, it will either be who it's for, hobby, maybe somebody that likes bunny rabbits, space, unicorns. So there's always something, of course, there has to be something that is going to attract attention. So this one here has got a kind of objective. It's a summer write and draw journal. So for parents who are looking for things for their kids to be occupied by in the summer, or maybe when they go on holiday. And I quite like that idea. It's actually got a purpose. So the journal has a purpose rather than it just being a notebook or something for them to just draw and write, something for them to just practice handwriting. I quite like the fact that this one has an actual objective. So I'm going to go into this one here and have a bit of a look. So again, this is a 2018 release. It's a very well-established book and it's ranking on page 2 for that particular keyword. It might be ranking higher for others. But if we have a look down, what's also good is you've got this section. Customers who viewed this item also bought. So if you find a theme that you like, you can just come down here and you can start clicking through onto different books, scroll through onto different books and have a look at what you like. And when you can see these covers in a list as well, it also helps you to think, well, which ones are actually standing out and what makes them stand out. Like this one, I know it's very simple, but having that bright red book does really, in my eyes, it does make it stand out. But yeah, looking at that one, I think this one really stands out to me right there in the middle. I like that cover as well. I think I'd make the text even bigger though. Let's have a look at this one, Kids Travel Journal. So this was published this year, traveling journal for kids with prompts to document their fun and awesome moments during vacations and trips. So this one, they've gone a step extra. They are not making every single page the same. Actually, that's a presumption. We can't know that for sure. And they haven't allowed us to look inside the book either. I don't know how they've turned that off, but you can't look inside this book. 101 pages and it's the 7 by 10 inch size. But I do quite like this theme of travel or vacation, as it's apps in America. Over in the UK we call them holidays. We're going on holiday. I know it's going on vacation in America and probably lots of other parts of the world. So you need to think about things like that as well. Just consider that, because where are your customers going to be? And do they use, English, American English? So that's worth thinking about too. And obviously in Canada, I actually don't even know. I think it's vacation in Canada as well. But obviously, where do you sell your books and what kind of words are going to resonate with that marketplace? So I'm going to go for something along the line of travel or vacation for my book. Now, if you remember in the last video, when we came up with the keyword Kids Journal with Drawing Space, we actually did note that draw and write kids journal seemed to be a more challenging keyword. Draw and write journal, a more well used keyword, so therefore more competition, and perhaps something that is typed into Amazon more frequently than kids journal with drawing space, even though we did validate that was also obviously typed in, otherwise we wouldn't have picked it. So draw and write journal for kids, so we can use that as a kind of second keyword in our subtitle, because draw and write or write and draw is used so commonly. We saw it again and again and again and again. So it's not going to be our main keyword, but I think it needs to be in our subtitle. I think a selling point is the size, because if it's for a young child, maybe a 6 or 7 year old, having a nice big book is a good idea, because there's more space for them to draw, and obviously they've got bigger handwriting at that age. And we're going to go along with the theme of vacation or holiday. Basically a journal for them to take away with them or to write when they come back, but probably take away with them on holiday. So it gives them something to do, maybe when they're in a hotel room or something like that, and there's a bit of downtime and they can write in their journal what they did in the day. That kind of thing is what I'm imagining it would be used for. So you have to really kind of go that deep and think, when would a parent want to buy this book for their child? Is just handwriting practice enough? Because there's probably going to be a high competition for something like handwriting practice. So if we sort of add that objective of it's handwriting practice, but it's while you're on holiday, I feel like it just gives you a little bit more of a niche down element, and it's just going to help that slight bit more. These are just my thoughts. This whole thing is my thoughts and how I think about it when I'm scrolling through Amazon and when I'm looking at what books are selling and what people are making. These are the kinds of ways I think about it. And I really do take my time with this stuff, because I really do think you're more likely to make sales if you spend that time working this stuff out, rather than thinking about, I want to upload 5 books a day. I want to upload 10 books a day. You're not going to get that level of detail in there. You might make mistakes, things like that, and it's just not going to perhaps be quite right. And when you look back, you think, oh, there were things missing in that book. So we chose to make a journal for a child aged probably around 6 to 8, could be slightly younger, on the theme of vacation or travel or holidays. We'll decide that, we'll nail that down. And it's going to be a large size, an 8.5 by 11 inch, the biggest that Amazon will allow us to make. And we also decided to use that draw and write keyword as a kind of second keyword in the subtitle, because that was more commonly used, we seem to think, when we were doing our research. We didn't choose to put that as our primary keyword because it looked too competitive, and Kids Journal with Drawing Space seemed to be more likely a terminology that we could rank for. So now we have a book title and we have a subtitle. 7 back-end keywords. This will be shown in the next video, so jump into that one and we can talk about the 7 back-end keywords and I will give you examples there.